So a good night for Leicester and Man City. Not for Tottenham though. Harry and Glenn Hoddle with me in the studio. Harry, what did you make of that Spurs performance tonight?
Well, I mean, when they got the goal back just for half time, I felt that the momentum was with Tottenham then, you know, 2-1 down, 2-0 banging trouble, 2-1 coming in at the break. I'm sure they felt right, we're right back in this game now. And second half, they had chances and they dominated the game. The whole, most 90% of the play would seem to be up this end of the pitch, Tottenham attacking. They just couldn't get the goal. They had several good opportunities to get the equaliser. You know, I certainly thought they would get something from the game at half time. Like
Harry said, Glenn, that goal from Alderweireld gave them a lift at half-time. Some good chances in the second half, Ali in particular and Kane, but just couldn't make it count.
Well, I think, you know, at 2-1 going in, that dressing room would have been different, and I think they should have come out, and then Dembele came on, started to control a little bit more the midfield for Tottenham. But for me, I don't think they created that much. Not as much as the possession that they had. They were dominant, and Monaco looked as if they might cave in, but they stayed strong. But for me, you know, this is an effort from the edge of the box, which in the end it went straight at the goalkeeper. You know, I don't think that's a chance. That's a good effort, but I don't think Tottenham really had the game by the scruff of the neck and was really on top form. This is probably their best chance, and I think if Harry just takes it, if he's on form, he passes that into the bottom corner. He was just happy to hit the target, and I think that's the difference at the moment.
Made it too easy for Subasic.
Yeah, he shifted it quickly onto his left foot. I think he had to get the shot off quickly, but Glenn said, you know, I think if he was bang on top of his game, he might have just slid that into the bottom corner.
They started well though, Glenn, didn't they? They looked in control, and it was defensive mistakes that cost them in the first half.
Very much so. When they shifted the ball quickly, a few times in the first half, they broke quickly, and this is where they didn't break. Lamela, for some reason, tries to complicate it, tries the nutmegs, doesn't react and get back, but Vertonghen there has got to show him outside. You know, Bernardo's got a great left foot, and if you watch this closely, the way he cuts across the ball is magnificent technique, great skill, great ability. Look, he's all left foot.
All left foot.
Yeah. But from behind the goal, this one, just watch how he cuts across it, and it swerves away from the keeper. And magnificent goal to start.
But he was
Monaco.
good all night, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
You know, they had a couple of bright little forwards, I thought. They were a dangerous team, there's no doubt.
The other guy who impressed was Thomas Amar, got the second goal. Just 20 years old, his Champions League debut. He had a great night, Harry.
Yeah, they keep, well, you know, there's lots of good young players. I mean, again, great finish. Tottenham should have dealt better with it, really. They were slow, I think, getting out to block the cross. And then they don't win the first header. They don't react to the ball that drops down.
Looks like Ali's asking Son to track him.
Well, he's asking somebody to track him, you know, for whatever reason. And
to be
but
fair,
it wasn't Son's fault. He can't get near the goal.
Dele Alli is playing in a deeper role. He should have been the one that's goal side in the secured position, and he wasn't. He was pointing to the winger to come in and mark him. You know, if he's playing off the front as a number 10, he ain't going to come back that far. But because he was playing alongside Dyer, there's times he's going to end up in the edge of the box, and it's his responsibility to mark him there and to get goal side. He just let him drift in there.
But they were still 2 for 2, Glenn, weren't they, when the ball come in? The two defenders, they should have dealt with that.
Vertonghen should have done that.
2 for 2 with the goals as well. He only had 2 shots on target, and they were the goals Monaco all night. And you thought if there was ever a time for Tottenham to give the fans a lift, give themselves a lift, it was just before half-time. They did get that goal back through Alderweireld.
Well, you know, I thought that would be a game-changing goal. You know, he's right on half-time, great time to score. You know, changes the team talk with Pochettino. I'm sure he thought we're back in the game. 2-0, we're banging trouble. 2-1, here we go, we'll win this second half now. You know, we won't get beat here tonight.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't think Lamela did well. I think there was a few there that could have done better. Ericsson, but Lamela, it was a good delivery from the corner as well. But he is a threat, Alderweireld, isn't he, in the box? So you give him that sort of space, he'll hurt you. In many ways, the best result was the draw. Leverkusen and Moscow drawing. It gives Spurs, you know, if one of those had won, that would have put them really on the back foot. So.
Yeah, but I still think they've got the quality to come out in you know, to qualify at this group. I really do.
CSK in Moscow next. It's an 8-hour round trip, so that's the only negative.
But I suppose if you're going to go and play them, this is a good time of year. You don't want to be going there in January.
And a fierce atmosphere there as well.
Yeah, it'll be a big atmosphere, but you know, I don't think they're a great side. I think Tottenham can go there and get something from the game. You know, so I'm just worried. I still worry about playing here. I do really. I know people will say, well, it doesn't. I just felt the atmosphere, there's a good atmosphere, but whether it translates to the pitch like it would at White Hart Lane, I don't think so.
I think that second half would have been different at the Lane,
Oh,
wouldn't it? There was created more. There'd have been pepper in that goal. Yeah. The crowd would have been up for it, and they possibly would have got the second.
Goal-mouth action, getting after the opposition more. But that's what they've got to live with. They've got to get on with it.
Yeah, that Wembley factor certainly played its part. Thank you, Harry and Glenn. That's it from us from Wembley. You can see all the goals and hear from Maurizio Pochettino on the Champions League highlights there on BT Sport 2 with Gary Lineker. Tottenham brought a record-breaking crowd here. Unfortunately, couldn't deliver the win tonight.
So if there was any good news for Tottenham this evening, it was that the other game was a draw, of course, because two teams go through. And all in all, not a great start for Tottenham, but not the end of the world, and a long way to go. 5 matches, of course. But, the whole Wembley thing is quite interesting, Rio, going there, and that lack of familiarity that you have at your home ground can make
definitely.
a difference.
And the intensity that's generated at a ground like White Hart Lane, where it's quite enclosed, a bit old school, tight onto the pitch, that's intimidating for teams to come in, especially teams from abroad, to come there and to feel that vibe. So taking it out, it's obviously a bigger stadium, more fans, but it's a different vibe.
Well, they dominated large amounts of the game, Martin, but at the same time, as Pochettino said, you can't afford to give goals away and get yourself behind chasing matches.
Well, it sounds from what the manager's saying that they had a lot of possession of the ball. Sometimes it doesn't work that way, and they have conceded. When I say there's a poor goal, it's a fantastic strike, I must admit. And sometimes you just have to hold your hands up and say that is a brilliant goal.
I think you'd be more disappointed in giving the ball away in central areas the way Lamela did there. It's quite cheap, and they got punished for it. And this is cheeky. There's a little bit of skill there, but there's no pressure on the ball at all. You cross the ball, falls down, and that's a ruthless finish.
Sometimes things go against you, but the bounce of the ball here falls perfectly, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you've got to take your luck.
That is true, and then they get into the game just before half-time, so you feel as if, that's a great break for your 2-1. You've got all the second half to put right, and big goal, great header, absolutely fantastic header, and that would give you a lift.
And then they had, numerous opportunities, good efforts, good chances in the second half, Rio, but it just wasn't to be.
Yeah, great effort from Dele Alli. I mean, he's renowned for doing that last season on numerous occasions. He hit the ball like that and it went in the back of the net. Today it wasn't to be. But they had opportunities, Spurs, and here you see again, running through. Kane it comes to.
Falls to Kane.
I mean, Uncle Frank was showing him how to run and get quicker. I'm sure he said, listen, my son Frank Lampard practicing shooting corners. He'd have been hoping he could corner, but it wasn't to be today, and that's the way it goes sometimes.
But OK, well, I'll tell you what, we can hear from our co-commentator this evening at Wembley, Jermaine Genus, who was watching the game, of course, in its entirety. Jermaine, first and foremost, the Wembley experience, obviously result-wise it didn't work, but how did it compare with life at White Hart Lane?
Well, I have to say, I mean, the fact that there was 85,000 Spurs fans that turned out tonight was absolutely phenomenal for the occasion. But you definitely lost something that White Hart Lane gives you in those European nights. The atmosphere probably wasn't quite the same. It took a while for the players to get going, and I think the crowd felt the same. As much as they tried to get the songs going and get the atmosphere as lively as it is down at the Lane, it wasn't quite there for me.
And there was also speculation and a lot of talk that the quality of the playing surface wasn't quite of the standard that perhaps you normally get in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think they had a concert on Saturday night, but it wasn't too bad, in all honesty. It was quite patchy in areas, but it wasn't the type of pitch where it was going to cut up. I mean, there was water in it heavily, and it didn't seem to affect both sides. They were passing it around and able to dribble the ball nicely. So it was quite patchy, but it wasn't that bad.
And the overall performance from Tottenham, Pochettino said they were very dominant throughout most of the game, and that Monaco only had a couple of chances. Was that fair?
I thought Spurs were disappointing. If I'm honest with you, I thought Monaco were very assured. Yes, the 2 goals were sucker punches, counter attacks, and 2 shots on target, 2 goals. It doesn't really paint the picture for how the game went. Spurs struggled at times to get any real flow to the game. I don't think the changes that Pochettino made. I don't think they helped either. They kind of seemed to go backwards when Janssen and Kane played together. So I think there'll be a lot there for Pochettino and his staff to look at, assess and think they could have done better, because there was large periods where it was just too slow.
Okay. Oh, thanks very much, certainly for hanging around as well, Jim. I can see there's no one else there, so that much appreciated.